Every creator has an ego. Don't kid yourself. You've got one, I've got one. Everyone who puts words, art, or ideas into the world has a little voice inside them screaming, "This matters because it's mine." The real question isn't whether you have an ego. The question is, which part of your ego is running the show? There are 4 types. Some creators live to be right, rational egoists. Some live to grow and prove they can rise, heroic egoists. Some chase the experience, hedonic egoists. And some are obsessed with truth, existential egoists. Today, we're going to figure out which one you are. And no, you don't get to cop out and say, "I'm all of them." You're not. By the end of this, you'll know your core. Grab something to keep score on. Now let's go. Question 1. When someone compliments your work, what actually makes you light up most inside? A. You're right. That was airtight. B. You've grown so much. You're inspiring. C. That was beautiful. I felt it. Or D. That was raw. That was real. Pick one. Don't cheat and say all of them. One of them hits harder than the rest. Question 2. You're revising a piece. One line has to die. Which one do you absolutely refuse to cut? The logical through line? The big transformative moment? The sensory flourish? Or D, the raw confession? Whichever one you'd fight to keep, that's your core. The rest? Nice to haves. Question 3. You've got a room full of strangers. When they walk out, what do you most want them saying about you? A. Damn, that person really knows their crap. B. I want to level up like them. C. That was an experience I'll never forget. Or D. They said the thing that nobody else was brave enough to say. What you want them to remember is what you really care about. Question 4. It's deadline pressure. You've got to sacrifice 2 things to ship tonight. Which ones do you drop? And which ones have to absolutely save? Which ones do you drop? And which ones do you absolutely save? A. Coherence and clarity. B. The crucible moment of growth. C. The vibe and the beauty of the piece. Or D. The naked honesty of what's said. Again, the one you refuse to lose, that's your core. Question 5. When you admire another creator, it's usually because A. The work is flawless and bulletproof. B. They transformed themselves in front of me. C. Their art was intoxicating and alive. Or D. They were fearless enough to tell the truth. Who you admire is just your ego looking in the mirror. Question 6. Last one. Pick your oath. Which one feels like home? Clarity first. Everything else must serve coherence. Transformation or trash. No middle ground. Make them feel it, or cut it. Say the thing I'd rather not admit. Read them again. Which one feels like oxygen? That's the one. So, tally it up. Which letter shows up the most? Mostly A's. You're a rationalist egoist. Your core is authority. You live for clarity, coherence, being right. That's your end. Systems, growth arcs, beauty, or raw truth, those are just tools. You'll use them if they make you more unassailable. You'll drop them if they don't. Mostly B's. You're a heroic egoist. Your core is growth. You burn for struggle, for transcendence, for proving you can become more than you were yesterday. That's your end. Systems, aesthetic, or even confessions, you'll keep them if they show up in your crucible. Otherwise, you toss them aside. Mostly C's. You're a hedonic egoist. Your core is experience. You crave intensity, beauty, vibe. That's your end. logic, growth, truth, only useful if they make the experience hit harder. If not, gone. Mostly these, you're an existentialist egoist. Your core is truth. You strip masks. You cut to the bone. That's your end. Structure, beauty, growth, they're just means. They survive only if they don't get in the way of being real. And if you tied, go back to the questions where I forced you to cut something. The thing that you refuse to sacrifice, that's your core. That's your end. The others, they're all a means to the end. So, now you know your forge. Your core is the fire. Everything else is just fuel. I'm curious what you got if you didn't know it already. So tell me in the comments. I'll build on it there big time. Now, before I wrap this all up, let's zoom out for a second. I'm going to explain where these came from since these aren't random labels I pulled out of my ass. They actually sit on two big axes that define how creators work. The first axis is structure versus flux. Do you thrive on order and systems, or do you thrive on change and struggle? The second axis is surface versus depth. Do you care more about how things feel on the surface, or how true it is at the deepest level? Put these two together and boom, you get 4 quadrants. Structure plus surface equals rationalist egoist, the architect, proving control. Flux plus surface equals rogue egoist, the warrior, proving growth. Structure plus depth equals hedonic egoist, the artist, proving beauty. Flux plus depth equals existentialist egoist, the truth-teller, proving honesty. That's why you can't be all 4 at once. You'll use elements of each axis, but one quadrant is always home base. That's your core. That's your forge. Good example, heroic egoist above all else. Sure, I enjoy building systems, proving things, making elegant structures, but those are tools. They only matter if they fuel my growth. If a weapon stops serving me, I'll drop it without hesitation. I don't worship the structure, I use it as a weapon. Same with beauty. I love when something I make feels alive, gorgeous, unforgettable. But if it ever gets in the way of me improving, it dies. You have no clue how many beautiful things I've thrown out because they became dead weight. And the existentialist side? Truth has its place. I'll tap into it when it sharpens me. But I'm not here to bleed on the page for the sake of being raw. I don't take pride in confessing everything. That's not my fire. At the end of the day, everything else, systems, beauty, truth, it's seasoning. The fire in my forge is growth. That's my core. And if you want to see what that kind of core creates, check out my other channel, Storymark Studios. That's where I release my broadcast literature project, my grand egoist experiment, where you can actually watch me burn and build in real time.